You're listening to Weight Loss for Life Coaches, episode 33, with Master Certified Life and Weight Loss Coach, Paige Bowman.
Welcome to Weight Loss for Life Coaches, the weekly podcast for coaches who are growing their coaching business and on their weight loss journey. Each week, we'll be tackling why weight loss feels hard and how to make hitting your weight loss goal the simplest thing you do all day. Hello, and welcome to the podcast. We are going to do another walk and talk, and today's walk and talk is going to be about belief on your weight loss journey. If you're a coach, you probably know this to be true, but anytime I do my own work, or as I do my own work on my goals, whether it be weight loss or maintenance, or my business or marriage or whatever I work through, it tends to be something that is super helpful and beneficial to my clients. And so I've been working on belief in growing my business. That's my current big goal right now. And I've been really working my belief, like not just doing belief work and self-coaching to see what my thoughts are and work on processing my emotions, but like working my belief like it were a muscle. And this has been some powerful work. And so I've been bringing it to my clients and having discussions with them about working their belief and getting their thoughts on how important that is and how to do that. And I thought I would bring that to the podcast, to my audience, and we would have that kind of conversation because it's so important. I want to ask you what your thoughts are on if you believe and what your thoughts are about doing belief work on your weight loss journey. But I'm just going to go ahead and say it. It is so important. And I would say the most important thing you can do for your weight loss goal. So then let me go ahead and ask you, how important do you think working your belief, not just believing or trying to believe, but really working your belief on your weight loss goal, how important do you think that is? And I want you to give this some thought. And I've asked every one of my clients this question, and their answers range from, well, it's not that important, or what one of my clients said is, this is the work we're doing together, is, yeah, but the actions are still really important. So for her, the belief and actions were kind of equally important. Another one of my clients was already on board. And so then we talked about how her doing the belief work and working her belief is showing up on her weight loss journey. And we actually celebrated that. And so I want you to think about, just be honest with yourself. We're not judging your answer. Really, this goes back to the thing I always say, it's so good to know. This is just another example of bringing some awareness to this idea that maybe you hadn't thought about it like this before, like working your belief like a muscle. I've been doing self-coaching for 4 or 5 years now, and I've never thought about working my belief like this. So if this is a new idea for you, really sit and ponder, how important do you think this is on your weight loss journey, and why? Ask yourself why. And then let's talk about why I want you to think it is the most important thing on your weight loss journey. And I'm going to take this episode to sell you on that. So first, let's talk about the self-coaching model, which the Life Coach School created. I've talked about this on the podcast before. And it's this idea that, and you can write this out if you were to grab a piece of paper and a pen or a pencil, and you go down your page and maybe you skip a line for each letter. So it's C, T, F, A, R. And so the C is circumstances. So the thing that's happening in the world that you have thoughts about, that's the T, is what's your thought. And the F is what's your feeling. And the A are your actions that you do or don't do from that feeling. And the R is the result that you create in your life because of the actions you take because of the feeling you're having, because of the thoughts you're having about the circumstance. So, and you can always Google this, or there's a YouTube video at the Life Coach School's page on YouTube about the model. And if you know about the model, awesome. You're already on board. So the thing that the model teaches is that our thoughts create our feelings, and then our feelings drive our action. And so if you're on board with that idea, right? Even cognitive behavioral therapy teaches this. Most of us can agree that we think something, we feel something, and then we do something. So this is the most important piece, and how I'm going to sell you on belief and the belief work, right? Working your belief is the most important thing, because, and I'm really doing selling you on the biggest thing first, because I want you to go ahead and start getting on board. Because if you go back to the model, the self-coaching model, right? CTFAR, your thoughts are going to drive the feeling that drives your actions on your weight loss journey. So if you're thinking, which is where we put your belief, right? Belief is just a thought that you have been thinking for a long time and feels really true. That's what my clients tell me. But it feels really true. It's probably a belief then. So the belief you're having about your weight loss journey, you put that in the T line, you put that thought in the T line, and then you see what feeling that creates for you, and then what actions that has you do or don't do. So if you're believing this isn't really going to work, I'm not really going to get to my goal, this just isn't for me, that will affect the actions you take or the actions you don't take on your weight loss journey, period. So my friends that are fans of the actions, that think that actions and what you do or don't do is the most important thing, and I know you're out there, I'm not quite one of them. I'm not a big A-line person, action person. I'm more want to stay in the thoughts and feelings. So actually my work tends to be go take action page. You've worked on your thoughts and your feelings enough, go get into action. But for my friends who are more action oriented, this is what I want you to think about. And this is one of the conversations I had with one of my clients who is a fan of the action. And that's part of what we're working on, is to unravel that and work more on belief. Everyone's work is different, but think about the 3 steps I teach you. Make your plan ahead of time, write it down, and follow your plan. The 3 super simple steps. And that's episode 5 of the podcast if you want to go check that out. So the idea is to think about what you're going to have for breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks for the day, whether you're doing this the night before or the morning of. Think about what you're going to have, write it down, right? Make it a realistic plan. Like, what are you actually going to eat when that time comes? Write it down in your notebook, in your phone app, whatever. And then when time comes, follow that plan. Eat what you said you were going to eat. When you have an urge to eat something off your plan, go ahead and allow that urge. That's a skill I teach my clients. We've talked about urges on the podcast as well. So those are the 3 steps. So let's use that as an example. You're working on the skill of planning ahead of time, of following your plan, right? Honoring your plan. Now, let's talk about what it would be like to do that and not really believe in your end goal. You're like, I just don't know if that's going to happen, but I'm going to get to work. I'm going to do the actions page. So my client told me, I love her. She's like, I'm doing the things. Even if I don't believe, really, I'm doing the things. So then I said, and what I want you to think about is, well, let's talk about what happens when you're practicing the skill, but you're not really believing in the end goal. So let's say you plan, and you do this every day for a week. You plan, you do your best to plan realistically, and you kind of follow your plan. Maybe you don't really pay attention to it, but you're like, okay, but I'm doing the thing. And you don't really evaluate because you're like, yeah, but I'm just planning. I'm not really following my plan, but I am doing the thing that I'm supposed to do. I'm planning. Okay, so you're doing the thing, but because you're not really believing that you get to the end goal, maybe you don't take building that skill and getting really good and being nuanced in why you're not following your plan, you're not really focused on that because you're not really in belief that you get to your end goal and that you get really good and masterful at this skill. Now think about doing the 3 steps, believing you get to your end goal. It's done. And you work that belief, because you're still going to have doubts sometimes. To be clear, I'm not saying that you have to just be in belief. I'm saying we work that belief muscle. So you're working that belief muscle every day, and you're doing the 3 steps. You're writing your plan down. You're making your plan ahead of time, writing it down, and honoring your plan. So you're planning every day of the week, but then you find that you're not following your plan. And you know you get to your goal. You know you get to that, your weight loss goal, and you get masterful at these simple skills. You know that's done because you've been working your belief. So when you don't follow your plan, you take a couple minutes in the evening to see what's going on. You start questioning because you're like, I know I get good at this because I get to my goal, and I get good at these simple skills to get to my goal. So what's going on? Why am I not following my plan? What is it that I'm not thinking that my future self thinks, who's at her goal? She follows her plan. So why am I not? What's going on there? That little nuance of a difference, that's what makes your weight loss goal happen or not, right? Because you're pretty much doing the same thing, whether you're in belief or not, especially for you, my friends that are really into the action line, doing the actions. But how you show up when you're doing those things, the energy you're in, I'm going to come back to that, the energy you're in, but also how you pay attention to the thing that you're doing, how you look at it, how you think about it, how important you make it to get better at that skill. That will depend on if you're in belief in your end goal or not. Now let's come back to the energy, because that's so important as well when you think about the belief work, working your belief being so important and the most important thing on your weight loss journey. So go back to the self-coaching model where your thoughts create your feelings, and your feelings are what drive your action. And really, that's the energy you show up in when you're taking action. So if you're thinking, I'm just not going to make this happen, or this isn't working, and you're feeling frustrated, which I had a client come to me this week feeling frustrated because she was thinking this isn't working. Now, she still did the 3 steps. She was still planning her food. She was still following her plan for the most part, but she was feeling frustrated. That was energy she was using as she was doing the things that she was doing. Now, think about the difference in how you show up to the skills that you've decided to do, the ones that you've committed working on. For my clients, that's the hunger and fullness scale, processing their emotions, right? Allowing urges, and the 3 steps. Now, you probably don't want to feel frustrated and disappointed and pressure overwhelm the entire time you're working on these skills, the entire time you're trying to lose weight. But when you're not working your belief, right? When you're like, this is never going to happen. Why am I even trying this? I'm never going to figure this out. You're going to be in that energy of frustrated and disappointed and disbelief and pressure while you're taking actions. And I'm just going to be blunt. That sucks. I don't want to go after a goal feeling that way the whole time. Like, oh, so then I either give up or I get stuck, or I just keep feeling terrible if I keep going. So when you do this belief work and you work your belief and you pay attention to the things that you're thinking about your weight loss journey, and then you work that belief like a muscle, and you build your belief up in the end goal, and you process that doubt, now your energy of how you're showing up in the action line and the things that you're doing, right? Those skills that you've committed to building to lose weight, the energy is going to be possibility, curiosity, openness, calm, certain, grounded. Those are 2 of my favorite right now. Certain and grounded. all because you've been working your belief, and that is changing your energy, that is then driving your actions. So now, again, to be blunt, you're feeling better, you're feeling good while you're losing weight, which means you're less likely to give up or get stuck. Okay, so I sold you in 2 big ways on working your belief being the most important thing on your weight loss journey to get to your weight loss goal. I want to be clear. I'm not saying that actions aren't important, or that feeling your feelings and paying attention to your F line, right, the feeling line in the model isn't important. Like I said earlier, am all about the emotions. But again, it all comes back to the things that you're thinking, the things that you're believing that drives your feelings and your actions. So the most important thing that you could do for your weight loss goal, to get there and be the person who identifies as someone who uses food as fuel, who desires life more than food, who loves where they are, that's all going to come from the belief work. So now let's talk about, what does it look like to work your belief? The first thing I would say is to get your thoughts, right, your beliefs on paper. Like, get them out of your head so that you can see what they are. And I talk about this in the episode Coaching Tools to Use on Your Weight Loss Journey, because a lot of times in the coaching world, what we teach is to do a thought download, where you download your thoughts onto paper. You're just like, here are all the things I'm thinking, I'm going to write them down. And I would say this is number one, because we often don't know the things that we're thinking because they're just all jumbled up with the other 60,000 thoughts we think all day, unless we are focusing on, okay, what am I believing about this thing? So we're focusing our thoughts, and then we're getting them on paper instead of trying to see them in our brain. I mean, even when I say that aloud, like seeing your thoughts in your brain, like that doesn't, I don't know, like you can hear it or think it depending on how you think, but you can't see your thoughts in your brain. This just got weird. So I'm going to have to go Google this topic. I'm cracking myself up. Anyway, so first thing, write your thoughts down on paper. You could ask a question like, basically what I said earlier, what are my thoughts about my goal, about my end goal, my weight loss goal? Or it could be any goal, right? My health goal, my body image goal. What are my thoughts about that? You could put your goal at the top of the paper, and maybe your goal is 150 or 200 or 140, right? If it's a weight loss goal, or 70 kilos. Put that at the top of your paper and write all your thoughts about that. So getting your thoughts on paper, number one. Now, the second part to this is to get in the mindset of, we're just getting some awareness here. Like, put on your curiosity hat, your non-judgmental, your observer hat. Put that on and look at the thoughts, the beliefs that you wrote down. That piece is so important, of putting on your curiosity hat, right? Your non-judgmental, your observer hat, because you're teaching yourself that you can let yourself see what's in your brain and you're not going to judge it. And you're building this relationship with yourself where you can allow yourself to see what's going on so you can change it if you want to. And that's not going to be possible if you have this relationship with yourself where you judge anytime you see a quote unquote bad thought or bad belief on paper. So we're kind of like sneakily building this other skill where you're mending and building a better relationship with yourself, where you're allowing yourself to be honest and then not judge it. This is that work that belief like a muscle piece, right? So if you've got a thought like, I'm never going to figure this out. Okay. We're like, okay, good to know. Building my awareness. Not going to judge it. Good to know that I can see it here. I can see that that's one of my beliefs about my goal. Now, why am I thinking I'm never going to get there? What's going on there? and you're questioning it, right? Because you have that curious hat on. So you're just getting curious about what's creating that belief, right? And this is like, we're getting deeper into self-coaching here and like how a coach helps you. It's very much this piece of it. And I just wanted to share this with you because you can go ahead and get started with this on your own. But I would say, if you can, hire a coach if you find that you have a lot of these kinds of thoughts and beliefs about your goal, because although you can do the work yourself 1000%, a coach will help you get there and undo these old beliefs that aren't creating, you being at your goal 10 times faster and more effectively, because they're going to help you question those beliefs because they're outside of your brain, right? They don't have all the things that evidence, quote unquote, evidence that you have in your brain. And so they are really curious. They're like super not in your story about your goal. And so they can help you question it and find new beliefs and unravel old beliefs so much faster. So that's one reason that you would hire a coach. So go on and question those beliefs. Why am I believing this? Where's this coming from? And then this last piece is asking yourself this question of, what do I want to believe about my end goal, right? I know it may seem obvious, but like really giving yourself the opportunity to think about, what do I want to believe? What do I want to think about my end goal? Even if I'm not there yet, right? Like we said earlier, we're working the belief. That doesn't mean you should just automatically believe right away. That's not what I'm saying, but we're working the belief. We're finding it, and then we're going to work it. We're going to put it on. We're going to play around with it. We're going to think about it. It's like knowing, okay, I have lower back pain, I have knee pain, and I have shoulder pain. So these are some things that I'm aware of that cause me to not be able to walk for very long. Like when I do these podcasts, that about maxes out the time I can walk every day. Or, my shoulder hurts when I sleep, and so it affects my sleep. So I'm going to start working out those muscles, not necessarily just exercise, but stretching them and doing mobility exercises and strengthening exercises. And like stretching out the muscles. I'm going to work those muscles so that they start healing, they start growing, they start being able to hold up my body like they're supposed to. It's the same thing with the belief work. You got to work that belief, right? Also, unworking those old beliefs, like I'm never going to figure it out, so that you start strengthening that thought. Like, I am figuring this out. It's done. Right? Go to, after you listen to this, go to listen to episode 7, I think it is, It's Done Energy, and use those exercises and that episode to help you work your belief. But it's this idea that I know this is where I'm weaker or lacking in my way of thinking about my goals, so I'm going to work it. I'm going to work it out. Okay, so I sold you on why belief and the belief work is so important on your weight loss journey. I gave you a little bit of an exercise you can use to start working your belief. And of course, I sprinkled in some powerful questions for you throughout the episode. So I hope you enjoyed this one. This is going to be a new favorite, I think. And definitely save this, or however that works on podcast platforms. But come back to this one because you're going to want to get really good at working your belief. All right. If you love this episode, leave us a review and rate us so other people can find this podcast, and share it with your fellow coaches who want to get good at doing belief work on their weight loss journey. And if you want help with this, if you're like, okay, I understand why hiring a coach could be so useful, and you think I might be the coach for you, reach out to me. You can send me a message on Instagram at lifecoachpageb, or just send me an email to hello@pagewoman.com and let me know you're interested. All right, y'all. That is today's walk and talk. I'll see you next week. Bye.